All right. Hello, everybody. It's Press Play. It's showtime. You were saying, Danny. What's up?
I was saying I have to support the project ever since I saw Preston's CG drama video from what was that, last 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
When he name dropped me directly.
I didn't say Danny. I just said...
You said Danny.
Did I say Danny? Okay.
You said Danny.
Well, I didn't give your last name.
No, you didn't. And that's fine.
But I didn't dox you, bro.
No, you didn't dox me. It's cool. But yeah, so Preston named me directly as someone who promised to support John's Kickstarter. And he was talking about how this is an example of how Comicsgate is now, being attractive to people from more of a social justice background.
There we go.
Which was an interesting characterization of me that I never really heard before, but I'll go with it.
I mean,
and for the purposes of this discussion, yeah, sure.
Do you not think of yourself as being more of a social justice person?
I'm not from America, so things that tend to be as polarized are sort of more generally acceptable.
But you're from Canada. That's like the land of...
So either it's the land of social justice or I'm a normal Canadian.
Exactly, one of the two.
So I'll take the social justice thing. Plus, it worked for the purposes of your argument there in the video. But there are multiple people who have mentioned that I've committed to this. I am committed to this 100%. I stand up for my promises. And if I'm not my word, what am I? Yeah. I've got your back, John. Hundo P.
So yes, for those of you who and this I think would be a good discussion here for the stream. John launched Demonatrix on Monday, I believe it was.
Right? Yes, I launched for Monday. I left it up for about a day, and then due to some conversations, I took it down, and I'm going to relaunch it on the 29th. I'm going to lower the budget amount. Is going to be the primary change.
The goal.
Yeah, lower the budget goal, and relaunch it on the 29th.
Neat.
And that means everyone who's been watching this writer's stream, listening to it, can finally see it in real life. So, I mean, this is what you've been waiting for, guys.
And then judge it for yourself.
But they won't. They don't actually want to show it. That would destroy their narrative. So.
Strange. All right, I'm trying to... This problem with... Oh, there we go. All right. I'm posting the writer's link around, but the keyboard. But yeah, I've done a number of projects. I've seen a number of projects, and look, it's like Hollywood and the box office. When they look at Friday's numbers, they can already tell you where they're going to expect that movie to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, yeah.
I think of my project as an art house experimental film.
I love it.
So I have no idea what it's going to do, but I'm gonna run it the gamut anyway, just to see what happens. That's kind of my attitude toward it. It's very likely that it won't make a $500 campaign goal, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't, and I move on. And it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the Demonatrix. No. There are other streams and avenues for this type of stuff. So
yeah, and that was something like you were telling me there was like this market in Daz Comics or something or other, or how did that all right? So what's that about?
Yeah, so there is a market for adult Daz Comics. I don't know how well most of that stuff is very fetish.
Okay.
So I would say probably 90% of what's in that market is fetish orientated. And I don't really have that many fetishes, besides like small boobs. So I'm not entirely sure how well it's going to work in that market either. So I might be shooting myself in both feet. But
I mean, you showed me a screen cap of
that was their storefront page.
Yeah, their storefront page where I saw like, oh, it's got the slutty detective. I'm like, come on, you can compete with the slutty detective. Instead of the slutty detective, buy the Demonatrix or buy both, right? Like if someone's buying the slutty detective, and you got to think they have to be if they're on the front page of the portal, then why shouldn't they buy the D Matrix? That's the way I look at it.
Right. That's what I said. It's
totally
not that
sensible.
it won't, and it's certainly a market that I can submit to.
Yeah.
I just know that when I browse those pages, it's all monsters and she-males and all kinds of bizarre fetish stuff that I'm just not into, and I'm not going to write into my story just to sell on that. So yeah, I mean, as I said, it's an experiment.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So there will be Demonatrix relaunch do-over coming up towards the end of the month. Okie doke. Let's look at some pages we got going here. And let me go down. I submitted. I came up with a fantasy idea, so I submitted those pages, and then we got Molby. We'll see if he comes in a little bit later, and then we got Demonatrix. So I'm looking at 3 scripts: Molby's, Demonatrix, and mine.
I thought we had more scripts this week.
I'm looking. I'm saying.
I think like a bunch of people dropped scripts like on Monday, besides me.
There was like the Preston's Knights thing. Was that Molby's?
That's Molby's. Yeah.
Of course, that was Molby's.
He's
and then you posted the updated Fantasy Pirates, but I mean, I don't expect that's going to get read at this stage. Isn't that being submitted soon?
I already did. So.
Nice one.
Oh yeah, I guess I was mistaken.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I've been working on editing and Kickstarter fulfillment all week, so I haven't produced very much. I'm boring.
All I did was go through and change some stuff in my second issue script, so that's pretty much all I did this weekend. So.
Okay, well, check out the pages I banged out here in the last day or so. So here we go. This is Palace of the Golden Princess, which is a riff on the 1981 D&D module Palace of the Silver Princess.
I see.
Which was the very first module written by a woman. It was pulled from shelves due to editorial objection over the material, making it very rare if you can get your hands on. The woman in question, Jean Wells, was demoted down to secretary. She soon left TSR, became a housewife, and that's how she spent the rest of her days.
Gonna make a joke about you appropriating it, but anyway, sorry.
now that I give you the story, now you understand. I am championing the original Jean Wells vision. It was rewritten by Tom Mulvey, who wrote.
Oh, he appropriated it. So.
Yeah, who wrote that famous D&D red box set, the original Dungeons and Dragons basic red box set. So he rewrote it. He changed some of the plot elements, and he certainly made it less fetishy. In reading the original one, I'm like, oh wow, there's like this female-run kingdom. I'm like, well, that seems interesting. So I thought we'd do this. Who wants to narrate?
I gotta save my voice for John's scripts, though. Yeah.
I'll do it then.
All right, Danny.
Page 1, panel 1, large panel. Foreground: lances crossed as 2 armored opponents on horseback ride towards each other, attempting to unseat the other. Attempting to unseat the other in a medieval jousting tournament. Both contestants wear full helmets that obscure their face. Wooden fencing, the tilt, separates the field of battle, the tilt yard, into 2 lanes. Thora, the 180 centimeter, 80 kilogram opponent, sits atop a black horse clad in black Joustinia armor. A red ruby glows in her breastplate in sympathy with another red glowing gem in the crown of her helmet. Designed for safety and spectacle while jousting, the heavy ornate armor weighs roughly 50 kilograms by itself.
I've gone metric.
It's kind of weird.
I see that, but is all of this necessary for the artist?
Why not?
It is thick,
just curious.
Very heavy, like sportsy armor and not actual battlefield mobility armor, I guess. But that's way too much explanation for the artist, and I think John's got a good point.
Yeah, I don't think weight tests.
What the weight of the armor?
Yeah, unless you're gonna, show that they're weighted down or something like that. But yeah.
Look, it's twice as heavy as normal armor.
Yes, it is.
So,
50 kilograms is really heavy.
Kilograms is really freaking heavy. So I want to give the guy an idea. This is a pretty big, heavy piece of armor.
Okay.
I don't understand why that's too much art direction.
I don't know. I'm just.
I was asking a question, not making a statement.
All right.
No, you were making a goddamn statement.
I feel like you were taking a strong stand on that. All right.
What I would suggest is the edit I'm about to offer in the next line. The shield in Thora's hand sits nearest to the viewer, and the lance in her right reaches towards Nestor, her opponent, riding the opposite way and appearing as a more traditional knight, wearing steel armor and riding a brown horse. In the background, a gathering of 12 noblewomen sit in observance of the contest. They wear matching black corsets and cotton dresses with slips up the side to their mid-thigh. What does vary between the women is their choice in headwear. Tiaras, lacy see-through veils, and iron headbands predominate. Seated above the nobles in a private box sits Queen Arika, and her lover, Sir Edmund. Edmund wears the polished armor of the Queen's noble chain and sits ready to enter the tournament. In contrast to the corseted ladies, the queens prefer loose flowing clothes and a plunging neckline that goes all the way down to her navel, where a red ruby sits. Her head bears an ornate crown made of silver, featuring 4 equidistant posts inset with 4 glowing red rubies from which rise menacing sharp spikes both above her head as well as seemingly down and into it. The middle of her forehead bears the indelible mark of the demon lord, Diviax. Photo reference. The official symbol of blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Panel 2. As they pass, Thora's lance strikes Nestor dead center and unseats him. It was not clear that Nestor was a him in panel 1. His lance shatters into pieces on her shield. Panel 3. Arika and Edmund converse while looking down on the battlefield as Thora waves from horseback to polite approval of the crowd. Arika. Oh, sorry. Geez.
All right. So Larry should clearly be Arika, and Jean, you can be Edmund.
Another of Thora's easy victories.
Shall I put her in her place, my lady?
Page 2. Panel 1. With a direct point towards the field of battle, Arika sends forth her champion, who walks down the bleachers at her order.
Definitely, Sir Edmund, for it is my intention to take the bet to take bed whatever champion.
I believe it says my intention to take to bed
whatever champion defeats Thora today. I would like for my favors to be won by you.
I shall not disappoint you here or there.
Panel 2. A teenage male squire helps the defeated unsteady Nestor to exit the tournament area as Edmund steps out into the area, waving to the crowd of lady nobles who look at him with great interest.
So if Thora wins the tournament, does that mean she goes to bed with Akira?
It does kind of suggest that.
Given that she has a matching red gem as the queen, I'm pretty sure that's incest.
I believe at the end of the 10 pages, you'll have a different understanding of the red ruby.
Okay.
All right.
Panel 3. Edmund sits tall in his saddle atop his majestic white horse and waves to the crowd. Timothy, his squire, holds up his lance so that Edmund might take it by the handle. Edmund's shield sits on the ground next to Timothy.
I am honored to once again be the champion of Queen Arika.
Erica.
Erica.
Or Arica, whichever you.
Arica?
Yeah.
You tell me. It's your name.
Fantasy name, yeah.
Arica. Yeah.
Arica.
Yeah.
Arica. Okay.
Lances and shields at the ready, Edmund and Thora ride towards each other as the joust begins. From the perspective of either figure, the fence dividing the lane lies to their left. Page 3, Panel 1. Viewed from Queen Arika's point of view, she and the other ladies watch as the knights charge towards each other.
Yeah.
Edmund rides in the top lane and heads towards the left of the panel, having contacted Thora's shield. His lance shatters into 7 wood fragments, which fly in all directions. Riding in the opposite direction from the bottom lane, Thora's lance deflects off of Edmund's shield but does not break. Both participants thrust their faces back and away from the debris.
Ooh.
Page 4, Panel 1. Having raised the visor of his helmet with his left hand, which still bears the shield, Edmund frowns as he holds out his hand in anticipation of the replacement lance brought to him by Timothy, seen in background.
Damn Lance. I felt I had her on that pass.
Panel 2. Edmund sits on his horse and looks down the lane as, oh my god, and his far-off opponent, Thora, who leaves her visor lowered and ominously awaits the next charge.
Should be at. So,
there we go.
Yeah.
Sitting in anticipation, the eyes of the ladies of the court fall on the two opponents. Queen Arica looks directly at Edmund with her head cocked in a question of his ability.
Right. Yeah.
Panel 3, medium shot. The queen scrutinizes the viewer. Panel 4, reaction with 3. Edmund, left hand, bares his shield as it reaches up to his visor as he juts out his chin in defiance. Panel 5, a reaction with 4. Edmund's visor slams into place. Clink. Panel 5, point of view over Edmund's shoulder. Is a point of view or over Edmund's shoulder? He rides towards the enemy, railing on his left as he brings his lance to bear on Thora riding opposite. Page 5, panel 1. From Edmund's point of view, his lance strikes Thora dead center as her lance deflects to the side. Panel 2, foreground profile of Thora as Edmund's lance unseats her. Background, Edmund rides opposite. Panel 3, viewed from above, Thora impacts the ground.
Oof.
Yes.
Oh, we need a Thora. Don't we? No, we don't have a Thora. I guess I'll be Thora. Oof. There we go.
All right.
Oof.
Panel 4, his visor open. Edmund looks to the appreciation of the noble ladies and his queen in the bleachers, who respond by waving strips of ribbon in the air as the smile in response. Sitting upright on the ground, Thora opens her visor as she tries to catch her breath. Panel 5, Arica's point of view, foreground. Rachel, a blonde bombshell, sits as one of the 12 women of nobility looking towards the viewer with adoration. Background, Edmund waves to the woman as Thora leads her horse away.
Larry.
Your dashing companion shall spoil you again. Congratulations, my queen.
Page 6, panel 1. Gretchen, her young red-headed squire, leads Thora's horse. Oh, Thora's red-headed squire, yes?
Yes.
Leads Thora's horse into the stable as Thora stands sulking outside the structure. Panel 2. Frowning, Thora hands her helmet to Gretchen. Panel 3, series. Gretchen helps Thora lift her breastplate off of her chest. Panel 4, series. Gretchen holds the breastplate 30 centimeters away from Thora's chest to reveal her cloth padded armor underneath. Shrink lines begin to form around her as the ruby's glow fades as Thora begins to shrink. Panel 5, series. Shrink lines surround Thora as she shrinks to 160 centimeters and 70 kilograms and sloughs off her now oversized armor. Panel 6, series. The 150 centimeter, 58 kilogram Thora stands wearing on her cloth armor.
Should be only, sorry.
Wearing only her cloth armor as Gretchen gathers the metal pieces of her armor off the floor. Panel 7. Thora holds out her arms as Gretchen, standing in the back of her, pulls open the folds of her cloth armor, underneath which Thora wears a tunic.
We need a Gretchen. Larry.
Okay. Shall I help you prepare for the feast?
I will not be attending an event celebrating my defeat.
Panel 8. Wearing her tunic and with her sword hanging from the scabbard around her waist, Thora leaves the stable as Gretchen drapes the cloth armor on pegs in the stable.
Banquets are for winners. I shall be content with tavern patrol this evening.
Page 7, panel 1. Foreground. In governess's armor, Thora walks alongside Iskander, a male young man of fair elven features. Her left hand grips his right arm firmly as her stern demeanor broadcasts to all onlookers that they must respect her authority. Background. Another governess in her late teens escorts a human male in his 40s home down a well-lit fantasy town street where two other human females walk unescorted. Governess armor hugs the female form in shiny black leather like a catsuit and features reinforced... Oh, okay, sorry. This is a description of the armor.
It is a description.
Features reinforced ribbing that resembles a corset adorned with a magical ruby the size of a quarter that currently appears normal but can be made to glow.
John.
Well, I hear you did well, Governess Thora.
I can think of nothing more worthless than your secondhand approval.
Panel 2. Foreground. Thora shoves Iskander forward as she releases her grip on his right arm. Background. The open entrance to a tavern beckons.
Here you are, Tavern of the Wealthy Wench.
Thank you, governess.
Panel 3. Thora points the index finger of her gloved right hand at him as she gives her admonishment.
If I catch you leaving this establishment without escort after curfew again, you will be severely punished.
Yes, governess.
Panel 4. Frowning, Thora watches Iskander walk through the entrance. Music notes.
Who wants to be our singer? Go ahead, Larry.
Preston, you can sing. You wrote it. You sing it.
Yeah.
There will be...
Sing it.
It was a Johnny Cash song.
All right. Panel 5. Wistful Thora wistfully listens to the music. Music notes.
A golden princess.
Panel 6. Point of view of a patron looking at the tavern entrance, who sees Thora lit by the light of the tavern, looking into the light for a source of hope. Music
Looking
notes.
down. Or yeah, reaching down. There we go.
Page 8. Panel 1. Thora's point of view from the entrance. Foreground. 4 figures representing the traditional Dungeons and Dragons party sit at a round table. Dunin, a Tolkien-esque dwarf, brushes aside his long red beard as he raises a flagon veil to his lips. Nimby, the adorable hobbit thief, smokes tobacco from a clay pipe. Helena, an attractive human frost witch with jet black hair dressed in wizard robes, sips white wine from a glass made entirely of ice. Madradorf, an elven male with jet black skin, white hair, pointed ears, and arched eyebrows, huddles his body tightly around the holy symbol he holds in his hands as he prays. That symbol, the Christian crescent, combined icon of a cross with a crescent moon. In the background, Johnny, a man clad in black, plays a lute and sings to the amusement of Iskander and 8 other fantasy patrons. Music notes.
When Viviax comes around.
Panel 2. Dunin nudges Madradorf as his gaze locked on Thora, who stands as a wallflower just inside the entrance.
All right, John, Larry, go.
Which one do you want me to do?
You do Dunin.
Okay. Hey, Madradorf. One of them lady constables just strolled in. You think she's looking for a good time?
Which one was Madradorf?
That's you.
No. In the
Dark
character.
Elf Cleric.
He's the Drow, the Drow Elf cleric, yeah.
I have no intention of finding out.
Well, I will.
Panel 3. Tipsy, though still seated, Dunin makes a grand gesture of acceptance to the standing Thora, who does not seem to appreciate his communication. Nimby interposes herself between the two, but her halfling stature makes it seem futile.
Dunin.
Was that me?
That is you.
Okay, sure. Welcome, governors. Come in to share some good cheer, have you?
Pay no attention to Dunin. He's a bit drunk. We're travelers staying the night, and we'll be well on our way by tomorrow.
Panel 4. Foreground. Thora scrutinizes Nimby like an unfamiliar insect. Background. An annoyed Dunin sits with apprehensive Madradorf and Helena.
All right, Larry, take over. Nimby here. And what part do you intend to explore in the coming days?
Off towards the wonderful town of Thothold and the lands beyond.
Very well. Enjoy your stay in Daichin.
Panel 5. In the foreground, Dunin scoffs but holds his tongue as he watches. In the background, the governess exits the tavern.
And inform your dwarf that any misogynistic microaggressions towards the governess are punishable by public flogging.
Hey, that line justifies so much.
It's too late for this right now.
I caught a couple other things, but now I see where you're going with it with that line.
Yeah. Let's save it for later.
Page 9, panel 1. The summer sun shines brightly on the tilt yard as Gretchen and Timothy stand next to the suits of armor their masters will soon be donning. Thora's black armor sits on the stand next to Gretchen, bearing a ruby above the center of the breastbone. Nestor's silver armor lacks such a ruby. In the foreground, Thora stands with her hands.
Should be on her hips. Sorry.
Mm.
Oh, and looks good, Gretchen.
Panel 2. Thora holds out her arms as Gretchen drapes the chainmail over her form.
We need a Gretchen.
Very good, ma'am. Ready for the armor to activate.
Panel 3. Medium shot on Thora, who smiles in anticipation, yet the ruby on her chest fails to glow.
It will be good to train again.
Panel 4. Thora looks down at the ruby on her chest with faint apprehension.
Have the days away diluted my link to the armor?
Panel 5. Thora and Gretchen exchange worried glances.
Do not worry, ma'am. I shall fetch the armorer straight away.
All right, John, take Nestor.
Panel 6. Wearing cloth armor, Nestor approaches the pair.
Don't bother. The magic seems to not be working anywhere.
Page 10. Panel 1. Large panel. Queen Arica sits on her throne looking down at Thora. Quite pleased with himself, Edmund sits in the chair off to the side with Philip, the court jester, and Samantha, the crazed high priestess of the demon lord Viviax. The tapestry on the wall behind Arica shows crazed version of a queen pouring blood out of a ruby-encrusted golden chalice to form a pentagram of blood on the ground of a black barren field as a spectral red demoness looks on in apprehension. That's cover art, Larry. Not Larry, sorry, John. Oh my God. The banner of state bearing the symbol last seen at the joust sits directly above the thorn, and all eyes fall on Thora.
Anywhere? And then we'll need an Arica.
I'll do Arica.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Magic has been lost through the entire kingdom.
Larry, be Samantha.
Viviax, our profane and vulgar goddess, lost her material link to this plane.
Do you have any idea how that might have happened?
No, not unless...
Those adventurers you contacted in the tavern 4 days ago, I hear you spoke to them.
Yes, they said they were headed to Thoughthold.
They crept right under your noses.
Panel 2. Arica seethes in rage.
Thoughthold? And you didn't think to tell me?
My queen, parties go to Thoughthold all the time. The ruins are impregnable. I would have no reason to...
You let them go, and now the magic that keeps us in control is gone. Our entire society collapses in a matter of days as the men hear of our powerlessness.
Panel 3. Foreground. Shame burns on Thora's face as she walks towards the viewer to exit the court. Background. Arica sits in judgment. One of my last final orders before the reign of divine feminine wisdom ends is for you to get out of my sight. Seeing you just adds to the tragedy of my failure.
All right, it's 10 pages.
You named The Hobbit Not My Backyard.
I did.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah. I couldn't help but laugh.
All right, John, what do you think?
It's an interesting setup.
Okay.
Lots of things going on. Lots of characters to keep track of. I don't know if I think you introduce them well enough, and they're distinct enough so they at least do kind of feel separate. So that's a good thing. You didn't throw a dozen characters on us on the first page, so it's an interesting world that you set up. Yeah, it was interesting, and
I mean, to a certain extent, like the femdom fantasy kingdom is kind of a trope, I want to say, almost at this point, but it was specifically called for in this 1981 module, and I think it might be the first time it might be like or at least one of the first instances of it. I can't say it's the origin of it since the scenario was pulled, but still, I thought it was interesting.
So I liked how you started with a smaller human story with your protagonist before introducing exposition and shenanigans. But Sorry, yeah, and with that, like you introduce a lot of characters who seem kind of important and will hopefully be showing up later on, in a really interesting way. You establish a fairly narrow kind of magic that sort of limits you in a really good way from the beginning. Like we know what kind of magic to expect from this. There's some shape changing. There's some whatever is going on with the size changing stuff, and there's probably not going to be much else. So, like, although you're in a D&D world and you can get away with a lot there, you're also, this is like every book is going to be someone's first book. So there's sort of a slow, slightly more character-driven way into the world, and that was really effective.
All right, Larry. Was NIMBY the only good name?
Well, some of the names were pretty funny, but
okay.
I don't know. I just it's well plotted out. There's a lot of backstory going on and stuff like that, and yeah.
All right, constructive. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was a little confused on the magic and how it works in the universe.
Okay.
You don't need to know it's magic.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I've never heard that one before. It seems like in a fantasy world, this is magic. It's fantasy. It's magic, right?
Yeah, but there still are rules to magic. So here's what I mean.
Right.
So she had the jewel when she was jousting, and it made her all big and powerful.
Yes.
Then she was done jousting, and she went back to normal size.
Right.
But she was still acting like she was so I don't understand why characters were still treating her like she was all big and powerful when she wasn't.
Well, because she had access to the magic to become big and powerful if she needed to, but that is not how she chose to appear. That's why I had the ruby present in the armor, but not lit. So like there's like the on-off switch, and when it turns on, she gets bigger, and when it's not, then she's just
right. But when she's escorting the guy through the town, I kind of was like, well, if she's not big and powerful then why would people take her as a threat or somebody that they would need to listen to?
Because of the authority of the station.
It would be really nice if someone said that.
I feel like I showed it, but all right.
The on-off switch definitely is going to be,
and for that matter, she does tell you. She's like, microaggressions against the governor. Suppose, she tells you.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm going to jump off John's point there. If that's okay. John, do you have any more?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
So you introduce a lot of characters, but don't introduce their names in dialogue or with captions for the audience. So although you got a good idea of who these people are, the audience is going to be like, who are these fools? If they're not being named, we don't care about them. And that like I think includes our protagonist who doesn't really get named, and Edmund, who I think maybe gets named.
You know Thor's name, by the way. At the end of it, people have referred to her a few times. Yeah.
So with so many people being introduced, as with anything, like who you name does indicate for the reader who's going to be important later on. And in a fantasy world, it would have been nice to establish the rules a little bit more. Like all of the implications of the female-led society are things that you sort of bring up incidentally in dialogue, but like, I am the queen of this only female-led society in insert name of continent here, and this is my joust where I get to fuck the winner, is the kind of thing someone might even say to introduce it for the crowd of out-of-town audience who's going to be there, right? Like you have audience surrogates in literally the audience of the joust that give you this opportunity to do really, really basic world building before you get into the implications of that world as you do later on. And I think a little bit more work earlier would establish better that this isn't just a fantasy world. This is a part of a fantasy world and the only place where here's my gimmick.
What do you mean?
Like, so your gimmick is, this is a female-led society in which these things happen.
Right.
In this particular way. So it's not just a Tolkien-esque fantasy. It's a Tolkien-esque fantasy, and it's not the whole world is female led. It's just this town is female led.
Right.
That's the sort of thing that's worth establishing really clearly early on. So the nature of the town becomes part of the stakes that ultimately our protagonist is going to be fighting for, and our reader knows it.
Okay, sure, I can do that.
I think I'm going to counter the one point about the names of the people in the tavern. I think that as long as we are familiar with, this is only the first 10 pages. So I think as long as we're familiar with who they are and their names by the end of this issue, I don't think you need to name drop everybody in the first 10 pages. Because I think as they do things, we will figure out who they are and, and we'll be able to attach their name to them. I think it's okay that we don't know all of their names right away. But we do need to know them before the end of the issue. We need to know exactly who these people are, what their powers are, and what their names are by the end of this issue. I don't necessarily think it has to be in the first 10 pages, though. So,
I'm inclined to agree. Actually, I was thinking more about like Gretchen and like a lot of the side characters. But yeah, like I assumed the adventuring party would be coming back because they do get named.
Yeah, definitely.
If the other characters, the side characters, aren't named and they don't come back, I don't know if names may only help the artist to know who it is that they're actually drawing.
Whenever I'm first introducing a character that I'm going to use later, I'm going to name it for the artist. I'm going to go, Timothy, last scene here. I won't necessarily present that name to the audience, and sometimes the audience just doesn't know the name.
It doesn't, and it doesn't always matter because it's more, like you said, it's a note to your artist to be able to basically go back to the same character, which is fine, especially if they're a side character or an extra or something like that.
Yeah, that lands.
Anyway,
so John's convinced me that John's right.
Okay, there we go.
If you need another vote, I'm with John on this.
All right, cool. Well, I'll add that as a segment of the speech. So, but yeah, no, I mean, a lot of it was I read this, published in 1981, and looking back at 81, there was a lot of like bondage on TV I was watching. I'm sure it probably influenced me a bit, but like Buck Riders in the 25th Century and stuff like. It was some pretty racy stuff. So I feel like this D&D module was kind of part of some of the racy stuff that we were seeing. And I thought, like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I captured that and sold it in a comic book with miniatures and a D&D adventure.
Is this part of your commission, or is this just something you're doing on?
No, this is just me doing stuff for me. So
I was gonna say, I don't know if I didn't think you'd be name dropping Viviax into a comic book you're doing on a commission.
Correct. Yeah.
Is Viviax a name drop from something else?
Viviax is a name drop. Yeah, there's a lot of name drops. I reuse my ideas from different comic books. So
yeah, basically she's a demon goddess, supernatural creature from other of Preston's stories.
From Guinevere, yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Well, she's in your space pirate, isn't she?
Space pirate, yes. Trinity is. She is one of the aspects of Trinity. And another callback to the space pirate one was the holy symbol, which was the Christian crescent.
I got that. Yeah.
Which makes me wonder: does this take place after the space?
Well,
so
no.
In the future?
I thought of it. I'm like, well, one, if I just want to look at these ideas as something that I consistently want to brand and frequency and occupy, and why am I going to come up with here's this hokey fantasy religion of when I can just like, well, I'm kind of already identifying that as existing in another world. I'll just add it to this world. And if we look at Grimm's fairy tales, Tolkien, that kind of stuff, we could say that a lot of those stories, a lot of those adventures and settings are in that whole 500 to 1500 out in, Germania and all of those places.
Right.
That would be, after Christ and after Muhammad. So it is possible that those religions might have merged in our little fantasy version where you have still elves and whatnot. But I don't know.
I mean, there's no need to apologize for a personal motif, man.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was just thinking like, and I was going the other way with it. Was like maybe 2,000 years, 10,000 years in the future, and all society collapses. It goes back to a magical medieval fantasy, and that religion happens to be the one that survives.
Oh, I like that.
And you could, I mean, it's like you get these crazy
that's
YouTube
Dune,
theorists
right?
on, like film theorists who basically try to connect all of these who basically do the same thing and try to connect all of these random things into this massive cinematic universe that were never meant to be. But as I said, like that's kind of where I went with that. I'm like, oh, I could totally see them doing something like that in this. Like,
Space Pirates. That's where it's at. Yeah.
Sounds like reverse Warhammer. But anyway.
Anyway, there we go. That's the first 10 pages of that one. I have high hopes on that one. I think in terms of merch, which is where, I mean, look, as creators, as producers, we got to look like how much merch can this story support. I think this story can support a lot of merch. We can do minis and comics and role-playing supplements, and that's 3 times as much as just a regular comic book.
There you go.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Let's see. Next, we got Molby is still unfortunately not here.
He's probably working.
He's probably working.
He's always
I know
working.
how that is. All right. So we got some Demonatrix happening. All right, John. Tell us about the Demonatrix.
Oh, where did we leave off?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I remember.
They were in the hospital, right?
Yeah,
right.
Lolita was talking like a Valley girl, and Emmy was annoyed with it, kind of.
I thought we were just starting book 4 or whatever, but
yeah, like there was a body that they needed.
Wasn't there a guy who sold tacos?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where we ended with Taco Guy getting harassed?
Yeah.
Well,
Taco Guy got harassed, and that's where it ended, right?
I think so.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, because we're on page 5. So yes. So this takes place.
Right. Guy.
So basically we are in episode 5 now, I think. And Emmy had some tacos and he was harassed by some street punks.
Okay.
And do we get a script?
No.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's why I'm trying to remember where we are, because I got no script.
Okay,
there we go. That was a really, really shoddy last time on Demonatrix.
It was. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Give me a hard time. You had other stuff on your mind, so.
All right. So we'll have everybody do their usual parts. I'll do Bobby to start with.
Oh yeah! Can't wait. Can't wait.
And
all right. So we ready to go?
And there's really not a lot of sex in this chapter.
Kidding.
I'm sorry.
All right. Exterior Palmer and Associates. Hey, bus stop night. Emmy and the other night porters sit at the bus stop waiting. Bobby pulls up in his car, parks. The night porters speak Spanish to themselves, look at Emmy expectingly. They approach Bobby. He unlocks the building.
Where's Marco?
Don't know.
I guess you're in charge then.
Inside the janitorial closet.
Oh, of doom. That's the janitorial closet of doom.
Bobby lets Emmy and the others into the closet before planting himself behind his computer.
Why is there a computer again? All right. Why
it's an office / Janet. It's. Sorry, I forgot. You've never worked a blue collar job. So
I have worked a blue collar
in an
job.
office high-rise
sold
building.
Cars. I've in
an office high-rise
Okay.
building.
Yeah.
The janitorial office was typically also is basically a large janitorial closet.
Okay.
It was basically a large room in the basement or in the lower parking garage levels.
Okay.
That had a desk, it had the computer set up, and then there were shelving units for all of the stuff.
Very
and
well.
The only guy that had the key was the janitorial supervisor, so that nobody would steal stuff. So
Why am I in charge?
Because you're the only one who speaks English.
I failed high school Spanish.
Bobby opens the desk drawer, tosses Emmy a Spanish-English dictionary.
And don't think because you're down a man you can write off the duties. Everything gets done and there'll be no overtime. So get to it.
Bobby fires up his Netflix. Emmy opens the key box and examines the clipboards. With the exception of what she normally gets, all the keys and checklists are in Spanish. The night porters continue to stare at her expectantly. Emmy hands out the clipboards and keys. The night porters exchange glances past the clipboard and keys among themselves. then leave. Leave to go out of their usual assignments. Emmy.
We could use some help.
Can't. New season of Lost in Space just dropped.
Bobby waves her off. Are you trying to get a Netflix deal or what?
No, these were just the shows that were popular when I was writing this episode. So
everyone's trying to get a Netflix deal.
Get a Netflix deal. I don't know if this one will go on Netflix, but
I don't think it would because I don't think it's woke enough.
No,
maybe not. Exterior, Palmer and Associates elevator lobby. Emmy wheels out her cart to the elevator, takes out her cell phone.
Marco, you better be dying of cancer.
Emmy sighs.
Call me, all right? Let me know you're okay.
She hangs up.
You know, if Penthouse or Playboy TV ever decides to get into scripted, animated shows, this would be perfect for them.
I don't know that Penthouse or Playboy are really expanding
I think they are.
They're offering these days.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
Interior, Emmy and Lolita's apartment. Emmy's bedroom day. Emmy zombie walks to the bedroom, collapses on the bed. Lolita, nude, dripping wet from the shower, enters.
Oh, good. You're home.
Lolita falls onto Emmy, splashing water all over Emmy.
No, that's into.
Into Emmy. I gotcha. Same thing. Anyway. Interior, Emmy and... Sorry.
It's not because she's basically going into her body.
Okay. She's doing the whole merging thing. I gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah. I would have added a little bit more there.
Yeah. Interior, Emmy and Lolita's apartment. Emmy's bedroom later. Emmy's cell phone rings. Emmy rolls to her back, answers it.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do Marco. Emmy, sorry about last night.
Is everything okay?
Not really. Look, I don't think I'll be able to come back to work. Have a bit of a family emergency.
Why don't I come over and we can talk?
Bobby's that bad, huh?
You have no idea. I don't think I can lead a janitorial crew through an English to Spanish dictionary.
I'm at my cousin's place. I'll text you the address.
Yes. Emmy hangs up the phone on the voice of Latin and Scottish heritage. Anyway, all right, Lolita.
We should stop at the drugstore and get condoms.
Exterior, Juan in Galicius' house day. Emmy walks up to the porch, knocks. Marla, Iglesias answers.
Hi, I'm Emmy. I'm a friend of Marco.
Come in.
Living room. Marla steps aside, letting Emmy enter.
Have a seat. Danny, why don't you do Juan when he comes in?
Sure.
Juan. She exits. A moment later, returns with Marco and Juan, who has a bandage on the back of his head.
Juan, Marco.
You know my cousin?
I know his tacos.
Don't worry, Stud. He doesn't know her tacos.
She greets them with a hug.
How's the head? Needs a question.
Not as bad as it looks. Please say.
Emmy and Margot sit on the couch as Juan sits in a comfy recliner.
Tea?
I'm good, thank you.
There's an uneasy pause.
There's a gang going around knocking off street vendors. What happened to Juan has happened to a dozen or so others in the city the past few months.
Somebody's tagging taco vendors?
Yes.
Why haven't you called the police? Why haven't...
It's the leading voice of Hispanic. He ate a bad taco. What can you say? Yeah. Margot and Juan exchange glances. Yep.
Not everyone has the proper paperwork.
Emmy sighs, sits back.
I see.
$100 here and there is a small price to pay.
It adds up.
Since I'm here on a student visa, I've offered to collect the funds throughout the day and make regular bank deposits.
They don't hit us every day. We can go without trouble for weeks. Then we get hit once or twice that week.
Can I help?
I doubted, Meha, but I appreciate the thought.
Exterior, Juan Iglesias' house front porch.
I feel like she needs to be looking up Maya and her Spanish-English dictionary going,
that would be funny, yeah.
That would be great. So.
That would be a great...
He's been calling her that since the previous episode.
And she can finally discover what the hell it means.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Who needs bitch? What? No.
It doesn't, actually.
I know.
Character moment.
Yeah. Margot and Emmy step out onto the front porch, take a seat on the porch swing.
I called Bobby. He pretty much fired me. I guess that's to be expected.
Fired? Show up for work tonight. He'll probably act like it never happened.
You think so?
If he doesn't, I'll quit too.
Thanks, Meha.
Marco nudges her on the arm. She leans into him, resting her head on his shoulders. Exterior street flower cart. Next morning, Marco counts out cash with the flower cart vendor. He writes the totals down in a notebook before placing the money in an envelope. He heads down the street. Emmy pulls up in a subcompact crossover.
Hey, sexy boy, need a lift?
Marco leans over.
If you're walking to the bank, you're an idiot. Get in.
Marco gets into the vehicle. Interior, Emmy's crossover. Emmy pulls away from the curb.
You have a car. Why do you Uber?
It's my roommate's boss's car. Long story.
You shouldn't be putting yourself out like this.
It's fine. I don't mind.
Marco waits Emmy to pull over. Excuse me. Exterior street fruit cart. Marco exits the vehicle. The fruit cart vendor counts out some cash. Marco writes down the number. He gets back into Emmy's car. Emmy's crossover. Emmy pulls away from the curb. Interior bank night. Emmy and Marco stand in line at the bank. When the teller calls them, Marco goes to the counter. Emmy stands by the table waiting. Exterior bank. Emmy and Marco exit.
Thank you for the ride. I think I'm going to need a nap before work.
I could take you back to your apartment, but we've got a comfortable couch.
I see where this is going. Interior, Emmy and Lolita's apartment. Emmy leads Marco into the apartment. Marco sits on the couch, feeling out as Emmy brings him a blanket.
Thanks, Meha.
Emmy's bedroom later. Emmy enters the bedroom wrapped in towel from the shower. Lolita slips into the room behind her.
So you're letting Marco sleep over?
On the couch?
That's almost like first base for you. I'm so proud of you.
Shut up.
Interior, Emmy's crossover day. Emmy waits by the curb as Marco speaks with the flower cart vendor.
So are Marco sleepovers going to be a regular thing?
No, just until we figure this out.
2 blocks away, one of the punks watches Marco and the cart vendor. Emmy's crossover. Marco gets back into the vehicle. Emmy pulls away.
Maria's should be a couple blocks should be a couple blocks into the right.
Marco turns his notebook to Maria's page. As Emmy turns the corner, she hears an engine rev up. Looking to the side, a black SUV barrels towards them, running a red light.
Lolita!
Emmy swerves. Exterior street intersection. Lolita, in demon form, passes out of Emmy. She catches the SUV, sending its hood and engine crumpling around her. Emmy swerves the compact car around, barely missing the SUV. Emmy and Marco exit the vehicle as other people stop to help. Emmy runs to the front of the SUV.
Lolita.
She passes back into Emmy. Marco pulls the driver's door open to assist finding the driver knocked unconscious from the airbag deployment. A gun falls out of the car. He backs up. Emmy steps beside him.
Is the driver okay?
Marco scans the crowd, spots one of the punks staring back at him.
Emmy, we have to go. This wasn't an accident.
Emmy looks around just as the punk disappears behind a building.
So what do you want me to do?
Hang tight. Keep your eyes open.
That was a fucking line reading.
Yes. Mark, Emmy, and Mark. Sorry, go ahead.
That's fine.
Emmy and Marco get back into the car and drive away. Interior Emmy's crossover. Emmy weaves between the other cars in the street, heading to the fruit vendor.
I think we really pissed someone off.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. At least we missed that truck. Did you even see what it hit?
No, it all happened too fast.
Exterior street, fruit cart. Emmy pulls up to the curb. They both get out. Marco rushes to the fruit cart vendor, quickly counts out, and records the cash. Emmy scans the area.
10 o'clock. Left.
I see him. Marco.
He turns.
Keys are inside. I'll be right back.
Emmy darts across the street as cars squeak, squeal, and honk.
You're losing him.
I need him alive and talking.
You are no fun.
Emmy's eyes click black. Her movement speed triples, and she dodges cars like a ninja before disappearing behind a building. Yes. Exit alley. The punk reaches a dead end to the alley and turns. Emmy's with black eyes approaches.
All right, fucker. Time to pay the piker. Piker. You can pay him too. Right.
Oh.
There we go. 10 paid.
Yeah, we'll pick up. We'll pick up in that scene next time.
Okay. See. Well, thank you for giving us a plus to make it into the plus column. But all right, well, Emmy and Lolita hanging out. They dodged some cars.
Did some things.
They seem to possibly be investigating this string of taco robberies and assaults.
Not everybody sells tacos. They're just they're undocumented workers.
Okay.
Who run street carts. One of them is a fruit vendor. One's a flower cart.
Okay.
One sells flowers.
So they are getting to the bottom of the migrant worker assault.
Yes, basically.
Okay. So
I was going to go with they're investigating tacos and eggplants, but sure.
There you go.
I mean,
yeah.
The fruit cart vendor could be selling eggplants. Who knows?
They could. So,
only funny if the eggplant falls.
There we go. Yeah. All right. I mean, stuff happened. What do you think, Larry?
It was pretty good. There was a lot of like, now we're in the car, and now we're at the vendor, and now we're in the car. But I guess that's how it had to progress. So, yeah. Then we're at the bank, and but yeah, it was pretty good. It had a pretty good flow to it, and it wasn't boring or anything like that. So.
Emmy has a job and something to do. and seems to actually care about other people, like without demonstrating this just by yelling at Lolita. So that was really cool. She's very almost nearly likable.
Yeah, Emmy is almost likable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Valley.
See, all right. In terms of constructives, I don't know what the conflict and stakes are at this point. Like investigating the assault of taco vendors seems low on the list of priorities for Demon and Friend. I have a hard time imagining them as like this savior protector of migrant workers everywhere. I don't know. I'm the conflict and the stakes for me. But go ahead.
Tacos are important. Yeah. Tacos are the lifeblood of the city, so they're important. You need to protect the tacos.
Danny?
Sure. Tacos are important. Watching people get in and out of cars isn't. And this is a comic. And even if it wasn't a comic, like just cut to the next scene. Like there was a lot of dead weight in the travel here that really slowed down what was happening. Like you can establish normality by stopping at stops, with like maybe one internal view early on in order to foreshadow the internal view that's going to be required for the car crash later. But like, yeah, that was just, it felt needlessly slow. So I would work on cutting some of the fat and just getting on with getting everyone invested in what the actual plot is that threatens our protagonists.
I did sort of feel like when that was happening, it felt like I was playing like Grand Theft Auto and I was getting sidetracked by things happening and I kept exiting and entering the car.
They're like, taco vendor side quest? This is bullshit.
I'm sorry, that's all I could think of.
I just wanted to steal a tank. What's up with all these tacos?
Yeah.
John's gonna die.
It's like, seriously. I was like, okay, I'm going to my quest, but I gotta stop and get tacos every 5 minutes. Because I also have to get the achievement for like eating at all the taco places in the city. So I was like, yeah. Anyway.
All right, and I almost wasn't going to give this note, but Skinny would like to know, when are we going to see sex in the sex comic?
Well, see, the thing is, it happens at key moments. So.
Okay, fair enough.
What are you gonna do?
Right. On this one, there's only a sex scene in the end of the issue.
Okay. The climax of the climax.
I don't know if that's enough for the jazz market.
Probably not.
If they've already bought the first 4 episodes, you kind of probably
you've got them hooked. You've got them hooked at that point.
Right? So I'm willing to give that a little bit of a pass, but I think that's a serious note for when you do the revision.
Oh man.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can see that.
Like definitely once you discover your audience, edit to make sure it works for your audience scenario.
I can imagine a reader just like throwing down his Kindle in frustration, like, I came here for Daz porn, and this is like a taco vendor.
It's all about fucking streetcars.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to talk about tacos. I want to see tacos.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, we got Molby's script, which I almost feel like he should be here to go over it.
I hope.
I mean, his scripts are so polished. I don't know what he can get out of it.
Oh, come on, he's trying.
I know. Yeah,
he's getting better. Yeah.
All right.
Can we convince Skinny to come back in so we can get like some inside CG hot takes?
Yeah. Wait, which one?
Skinny.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's got the link. If he wants to come in, that would be cool.
Because I'm not going to know what half of this stuff is going to be talking about.
Exactly.
Do you want to know?
No, I 100% don't.
Exactly.
But given that Molby's going to want to know the insider view response, I
don't
feel like we're going to be able to better help him
Yeah.
with that integrated into the live reaction.
I don't know how much insider stuff's going to be in this and how much of it's just Molby playing off of a joke and riffing on something that he sort of read and then adapting it into a story. So, yeah. I don't know how much insider stuff's going to be there, but
Well, cool.
All
That's less alienating for me then.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's going to be really, really trippy because most of his scripts are. So
I mean, there's nothing like reading like a good hearty word.
There we go. Skinny's making an offer to the audience. There we go.
He's trying to improve your metrics, Preston.
He is. I appreciate that. All right. Do we want to read Molby's script this week? Because he's not here, or because we're out of scripts at this point.
Yeah.
Or do we say that for next week in the hopes that he will be here?
My vote is I don't
I
care.
think it's better if he's here.
Well,
yeah, I think it's better if he's
you know.
It is, but we could take a look at it and see how many things.
Okay, all right. Let's. Yes. All right.
Well, hold on. Can we take bets on how many of those will be corrected by next week?
All right.
Well, no,
Yes.
I don't want to bet on that.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't seem like as passionate a rewriter as he is a writer. I've noticed.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, like, look okay, let me go ahead, and I'm gonna take a look at the first sentence because I was kind of proud. I'm Molby. I'm like, cool. Look at this. We got boom.
Wow. It's clean.
Yeah. It looks better to the eye. And check this out. Morning, deep in the boiling tar pits, a thin trail towards the forest ahead. So it's a strong sentence.
Wow.
It's lacking a verb. But I had a feeling that the verb was is.
And you just went delete.
Right. And let's face
really
it.
didn't because I see one on line 3.
Yeah. And let's face it, if the sentence is she is nice, you can just say she nice, and we understand what that means. But when you're taking out the passives, you have to get more, because passives are so easy. You can go something is something, something was something, something will be something else. But when you go active, instead of an island is in the sea, it instead has to be the island sits in the sea. You have to give you have to fill in a verb with action, and then you have to get sometime creative. The land juts out into the ocean. Kind of stuff, and that's where writing
the ocean waves
flowering
against the
the island looms over the storm.
Exactly. Yes, all those
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the storm usually looms over the island, centered in the sea.
All right, on horseback, Royal Preston Knight Moby leads Royal Preston Knight Biggest Steve, who sharpens his. I feel like all right. Moby, okay.
Is he sharpening his claymore while he's riding his horse?
Yeah. As they both lead, the 24 Preston Knights behind them, who are also on horseback. Okay, look, we're doing well here in terms of I like how you're putting your sentences together. You just got to invest a little more time in cleaning up some of this stuff. It's Biggest Steve who sharpens his claymore. See,
just Biggest Steve sharpens his claymore.
Right. All right, but so we got Moby and Biggest Steve. All right, what do we want to read this? Do we want to wait for next week?
I think we should wait for him, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah, next week.
Hard to do his voice.
It is hard to do his voice. Okay, next week then.
Unless he just shows up out of the blue.
Yeah. Well, it's the end of the stream because we're out of scripts.
True.
Hi, Cheyenne. How are you? So anyway, there we go. All right. Well, slow week this week, but I'm liking my Femdom fantasy thing. I think that one's got a future.
Yeah.
What do you think, Danny?
I mean, it's not a complete waste of time, so keep working on it.
There we go. Okay, fair enough.
That one is not particularly positive. Sorry, I'm still like reeling from daylight savings time and my whole week of packaging. I walked like 5 kilometers with like 20 kilos of envelopes in my backpack, like just to get home today, and those have to get dropped off at the at my shipping broker tomorrow morning.
There you go.
So, yes, thanks, Skinny. The proper order is watch X-Files, have sex.
Exactly. Yes. I feel like the X-Files it definitely dates you, right? Like you would have had to have been watching TV in the 90s. Who does that anymore?
In the 90s? I mean, I go to the 90s all the time to watch TV. I don't know about you.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I watched the X-Files when it started, and I watched it all the way to the end, and I love that show. Yeah.
I remember that season. When did Scully get abducted by the aliens? Wasn't that like the season 2 cliffhanger?
There were several seasons.
Yeah.
Well, no. See, she was.
I think it was season 2 cliffhanger, but it was.
It was, yeah. That was one of the cliffhangers, season 2 or 3. Anyway, but the movie also that happened, and a lot of times. And then
Smoking Man. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great show, and
I even like the last 2 seasons.
There you go. Wow. Okay. Okay. That's a strong statement.
It was a different direction, but I like the characters. So yeah.
All right. Well, next week we'll have more scripts. I'll have more of my my fantasy script, and hopefully Moby will be here and we can read through the Preston Nights, and John will probably have more Lolita. Maybe Danny will have some stuff.
I've been working on a couple of things. So Cygnus Imperium issue 2 is currently in production. Issue 3 is written, but I'm just not at a stage where I'm functionally able to edit it, so I'm just sort of holding off on bringing that over. And I've got lots of stuff to edit, so once I get back into actually having time to thinking about writing, I'm sure I'll have more script to bring in.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, I'll see everybody next week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been Press Boulder Pocket Jacks Comics. Thank you very much for your time. Take care.
Good night, everyone.